Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to 22 Panels. My guest tonight is political cartoonist and author of Tom the Dancing Bug, Ruben Bolling. It's so funny that as I was introducing you, I got an alert that Jen Sorensen, who was the first political cartoonist that I had on, just put out her newsletter.
Her new what?
I got the email alert, and I'm like, oh, that was a fun conversation too.
Oh, that's great. She's wonderful. Yeah, she's a
Oh,
friend.
she is. She's
She's
amazing.
she's from exactly the same kind of genre that I do.
Yeah.
I
The
guess
the
it used to
the
be alternative news weekly comics, and
mhm.
now on the web. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and the uh, I think you, Sorensen, and Tom Tomorrow are probably the three biggest examples of like multi-panel story political cartooning rather than single panel story
right.
slash statement
Yeah,
political
there's
cartooning.
there's yeah, it's a small group, but
Right.
when the alternative news weeklies were actually a thriving business, they used to have the industry would have a convention every year in a different city, mostly for editors and publishers and ad salesmen and all that. But the cartoonists would come. So that's
Okay.
how I got to know, all of my peers, because usually it's hard for cartoonists, especially, in, comic strip cartoonists to get to know each other. We're all over the country and we just do
Right.
our thing alone. So every year it was like a convention of these
I mean, this is why
alternative cartoonists.
Comic Cons exist. Is
Right, right.
is part of it's for the fans, but a huge part of it is like so many cartoonists would never see the light of day or meet each other if it were for comic conventions.
It's great. Yeah,
You
we're actually
know,
very social people, even though
well,
we
but
chose
we're
this
also
solitary lifestyle.
we also tend to be a certain kind of social.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's true. And a
There's
certain
a
kind of
lot of
person.
neurodiversity in comics, so
I'm
we're
sure that's
social if
right.
we feel safe.
That's
And
right. And we feel safe with each other because when
exactly
when I
because we
when I
see the
met these
world.
people, really the first cartoonists that I met at these conventions, it was like meeting like my tribe. It was like
Hmm?
we're so similar. All these guys, Tom Tomorrow and Durf and Keith Knight.
I've had Durf on the show too.
Yeah,
Durf's a great guy.
these are all my buddies
Another
from
baseball guy.
big time, big time. We went
Yeah.
to a convention. We were talking about baseball before we went on air.
Off air. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
Anybody who listens to this podcast knows that I get on to baseball
so
quite a
we
bit.
Durf and I
That
were at a library book convention. I had a bunch of kids' books out, and he, of course, has his books that are in libraries. And we were in San Francisco, and I at the middle of the day, I said to Durf, I was like, "Let's get out of here and go to a Giants game." And he's like, "Let's do it." And we had the
I love
greatest
it.
time. We got burnt to a crisp.
New
Had
ballpark or old ballpark?
new ballpark.
Okay. I haven't been to the
First
new
time I
one
was
yet.
there, gorgeous. Maybe
I've
my
heard great things.
the most beautiful. Great garlic fries, and we got burned. We were out in the outfield and
Actually,
no
the
precautions.
the first time I was ever on television was at Candlestick Park.
Oh wow!
JT Snow took a foul ball away from me. I mean, I let him because I'm one of the fans that knows when it's the home team coming over, you kind of go like this rather than like this.
You
But
didn't grab for the glove and try to yank the ball
no,
out
no, no.
like
JT
Yankee
Snow took
fans.
a foul ball away from me, and then gave it to the pretty girl three seats over. And I'm like, dude,
What? You're right there. You're a good looking
I
guy.
let you catch the ball.
Nice.
I
Thanks,
was in the
JT.
second row even. Like you needed to come into my area. I wouldn't have been
That's
interfering.
That's great. No, I went to Candlestick too. I love
Yeah.
Candlestick Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cold, but as a park.
Ironically, the second closest I mean, I've been to like 400 some odd ball games, and the only ball I've gotten was a squishy ball that Clark the Bear hit into the stands before a game last year.
Really?
Right. Haven't gotten a second closest I've gotten though was literally it was a crazy thing. My dad and I were at the Giants Padres game. So it was actually Tony Gwynn that hit that foul ball.
Be a good one to get.
Right. So we were at the Giants Padres game that we had to, I so rarely do this, but we had a plane to catch, that we had to leave in the 11th inning to catch our plane to get back to Chicago. And I had 120 tickets for the Cubs game the next day, where Sean Dunston stole a ball from me in
You've come
the
pretty
in
close,
it,
pretty
I
often.
was in the second row behind the Cubs bullpen, and I thought it was mine. And suddenly I heard cleats on the wood bench, and I looked down, and there was Sean. And he, I forgive for taking the ball because he popped down on the field and fired it to Mark Grace for a double play. Can't can't argue with that.
He's got a job to do.
But then it
He's on the
wound up
clock.
being one of the rare times that the Cubs and White Sox were in town on the same day.
Yeah.
And I'd gone to the game with my cousin, whose dad was a lawyer downtown, my uncle. So we went to his office after the game, and he's like, "Hey, I have tickets. I have the company tickets for the White Sox game tonight."
Hmm.
So I took in three Major League Baseball games in three different ballparks in two different cities within 24 hours.
Pretty nice. That's
It
great.
was, can't argue with that.
No.
And not even a doubleheader in there, though doubleheaders are great. I miss doubleheaders. So,
Let's play two, as Ernie said.
oh,
Okay.
so I always then remember the story that Buck O'Neill once told about when he was the coach for the Cubs, and Ernie, it was apparently a game in Houston before the Astrodome, and it was like 105 out on the field, and Ernie did the whole let's play two, and just before the second game, running out like faints of exhaustion. And Buck's
Oh.
like, I don't think you're playing two today, Ernie.
Let's not play two. Let's stop at one.
But Buck says Ernie still said it was a beautiful day for baseball.
Beautiful.
Um, so before we fall too far down other rabbit holes, let's talk about your Kickstarter. Um,
Yes.
because we're going way back with this Kickstarter, aren't we?
Yes.
This is
To the
early
early days
strips.
of Tom the Dancing Bug. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Clover Press has been they've been amazing, and they have been committed to uh, publishing in trade paperbacks the complete Tom the Dancing Bug library. Tom the Dancing Bug is a weekly comic strip, um, social, political, satire, and absurdist humor. Um, and we published volumes 3 through 8 chronologically. Um, and we saved volumes 1 and 2 from the earliest days of Tom the Dancing Bug for the end of the for the completion of the complete Tom the Dancing Bug library. Volumes 1 and 2 cover the first years 1990 to 1998. Every single Tom the Dancing Bug comic from those years. So the others were sold in bookstores and Amazon, but we're doing this one on a Kickstarter, which
Okay.
launched. I don't know when this will publish, but it launched as we're speaking just a few
Yeah.
days ago.
It launched a few days ago. It goes through November 20th. It is fully funded almost 13 times. Well, no, it's fully funded 13 times over.
It's going great. I'm so
Um,
gratified. Things
so
are,
so so
yeah.
so at this point, you can go back it, and it's the same as buying it. There's no chance that it will not get fully funded anymore.
Oh, no, no,
And the
no.
fact,
This is happening, and all the
yes,
bonus stuff is happening too. So
yeah,
this is
yeah.
your chance, just basically to pre-order it. And what they tell me is it's your only chance, because once this is it, they're gonna just do the Kickstarter.
Oh, they're not putting them out into stores.
That's what they're telling me. Yeah,
Okay.
this
I
is the
mean
chance
that
to get it.
that feels surprising given how well it's done on the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Um,
no, it's done great. Maybe, I mean, maybe they'll change their mind, but for now, there's no way to know. It's just
yeah,
this is the plan as of now.
yeah,
So
okay,
so we'll see.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm really gratified. These books are the ones where I really you know gained my readership.
Well,
Where
there is a retailer tier, so I'm any of the retailers listening, in case they don't publish
oh
it, you
yeah,
can get 4 copies of each of 1 and 2
That's interesting because that goes to what
for
you said because that was
$120.
just added.
Okay.
Because I hadn't seen that before. I went to the page today and saw that that was added. So
Okay.
maybe they are changing that.
Yeah. I mean, I think anytime you wind up raising $26,000 in your first couple of days, that means there's a demand. I
Well,
think.
yeah, no, the other books sold really well.
Right.
I've just been so gratified by, the way the readers of Tom Dancing Bug have really showed up.
Mhm.
And because of that, we're now going to have, 8 volumes. I mean, I'm a comics fan. I'm a completist, and I just it's means so much to me to have this stuff in print and for people to have them for those spines to line up on the bookshelf one,
Yeah.
two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight.
I
And it's
know.
my life's work. It's everything. It's my whole
Well,
career.
hopefully not
It's
your
right
entire
there.
life's work yet. You're not hanging them
I'm
up.
hoping I'll live to maybe do a volume 9. We'll see. We'll see
Well, I mean,
if I exercise and eat healthy.
uh, please exercise and eat healthy enough that like you can have a volume that's more funny and less cynical and real than the most
Yeah, I
recent
know.
volume.
I know because well that's really to speak to the difference of volumes 1 and 2 are just about apolitical. There's
Yeah.
not you would never know from volumes 1 and 2 that this guy is going to evolve into someone who does mostly at this point now I'm doing mostly political comics. That sort of changed with Trump. He was getting more and more political. Let's say I won't do it by years, but I'll do it by volume. Maybe the volumes 4, 5, 6 became more political, and then 7 and 8 is just like it's the Trump show.
I mean, I've been reading through just this year on Go Comics over the last couple of days
Yeah.
to get ready. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed is that you and do you pick the old strip or is somebody picking the old strip for you?
Oh, the classics. Yeah, every Thursday
Yeah.
we do a classic. No, I pick them, but I pick
Okay.
them months in advance. Like I'll just go through a
Okay.
year. Like now I'll do like 2016, and I'll just go through and just like send them, like 30 comics from 2016. Those won't be complete because I don't want to do stuff that's too topical. Uh,
Okay.
um,
I'm just saying that altogether too often
yeah,
they're way too topical.
not the classics. The classics are?
No, I'm talking the classics.
No, well, then I messed up. Or else sometimes I'll say, nah, but I like this one. This is, or maybe it's not so old, or maybe it's about something that I think people will remember. So I don't
Well,
want to
no,
do.
I just meant like it how to put it. Like I had assumed that it was deliberate because so much of it it's
Oh,
like
you're saying topical to today,
right,
relevant to
right.
today. Yeah.
Where I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, this is like this is the way of saying, yes, it was like this in 2014.
Yeah. I guess that's just,
Doesn't it also feel like it now?
yeah, I guess that's just history, right? It repeats itself.
Um,
These days feel unique. They
uh,
definitely feel that way to me, but I guess the truth is that a lot of stuff has happened before.
and like maybe I was like I was going to give you even more credit because I was sitting there going like because I've definitely seen this happen with a lot of political cartoonists where it's like you'll like Jen Sorensen will always in her newsletter go find a somewhat topical cartoon that she wrote 10, 15,
Oh yeah.
sometimes 20 years
Well, I
ago.
can always do that. I mean,
Right.
look.
Um,
As we record this, Dick Cheney died today,
yep.
so I had to go
I
back
was
and find my three of my Dick Cheney comics from way back
and
in
how
the
about
day.
Matt Bohr's comic?
Yes, he just showed it to, he just I just emailed with him. Matt Boers,
Yes.
he said, "Here's the comic. I
Hey,
had my
he's
first flip of
another
comic in
22 panels
years."
guest.
Oh,
Matt
good,
Bors
good.
is
Oh,
awesome.
Matt is great, and yeah. So he emailed me today his new comic, and got one of mine for he curates a comics page for a magazine called In These
In
Times,
these
and
times.
he asked
Mhm.
for one of my comics to be in that, which
I
he often does.
I pulled that up specifically because you mentioned it in your newsletter
Oh,
today.
okay.
Yeah. Like I say, I do a little bit of research. I don't do as much research as I hit your Wikipedia page, I hit your newsletter. That's all you need, right?
Awesome.
Read some comics.
Yeah. No, thanks.
Um, no, actually, I think what I love the most about the 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 Matt Bors, like the devils and the we do not torture, I think everybody gets, and even the waterboarding is gonna like, or the water bottle going along with waterboarding, I think most people will immediately get, but I immediately locked in on that shotgun. I
Yes.
remember that wonderful episode of The Daily Show where Jon Stewart started off with Cheney got a gun.
That's good. Uh, yeah, and the guy he shot ended up apologizing to
Apologizing to
Dick
him.
Cheney. Yeah,
Yes,
that's the sign of a true
another
evil
22
genius.
panels guest. I've had some cool guests, Ruben. I might not have a huge audience, but I've had some very cool guests.
Who's it? Who's
Comic
the?
writer and Pulitzer Prize winning um, intelligence reporter Spencer Ackerman wrote the obituary for Cheney for The Nation today. Um,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was
that
every
was
bit as good
scathing.
as it was every bit as good as his obituary of Nixon's guy. Why can't I remember the name right now? Because I blocked it out of my head.
Well, yeah, I didn't read the article, but I did see. I think I saw the headline, and it was
Yeah.
there have been some good ones.
No,
People
no,
are
no,
not
but
afraid to
who was Nixon's Secretary of State?
Kissinger. You're thinking of
Kissinger.
Henry
That's the word I
Kissinger.
was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Ackerman did the Kissinger obit for Rolling Stone too, and like he knows how to do
No,
obits of people who should be
he
hiding in
doesn't pull
prison.
the punches.
No,
He will speak ill of the dead.
I mean he was kind enough not to at any point. I think he only once actually said the word hell for Cheney.
Uh,
He just often said things like, as he looks up on the world that he left behind.
that's a kind way to imply where he's going. Very nice.
um, yeah, it is a weird day.
Yeah,
Uh, we could have a
absolutely.
Democratic Socialist mayor of New York by the end of the day. Probably will.
I think
And
we're going
and
to be
Cheney
announced. It
Cheney
could
couldn't stick around to find out.
no, that would have killed him.
Maybe it did. Maybe it was early exit polling.
Listen. We lived long enough that he actually became not by far not the worst guy and to hold that kind of executive power.
Well, I
Um,
was literally just talking to my wife about this, like, because she discovered, and she forgot exactly who it is, so I'd have to go look it up. But she likes to listen to Conan O'Brien is looking for a friend,
yeah,
or Conan wants
I've
a
heard
friend, his
that.
podcast,
Sure.
and apparently he just had a couple of history podcast guys on.
Oh, great.
And she said they were actually great because they were really good at going, you think this is bad? Well, let us tell you a story.
I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear the
But
historical perspective that actually
but
Trump isn't so bad.
but doing it in a way that made her like, I mean, because she gets that existential dread going on. So it's the ability
Yes,
to
no,
go,
that
okay, the
of course,
world will survive Trump. It's not that Trump isn't bad. It's that there's hope for the world to
I
survive.
get it. I get it. There's room for that, but that's
But
great.
one of the things that I said to her that I think about a lot, because I'm a teacher, she's a teacher. We spend a lot of time around kids. And like as much as older generations love to rip on millennials, rip on Gen Z even more, what they totally don't get is that for anybody born post 9/11, this is the only world they've known.
Yeah,
It's not getting worse for them. It just is. Every once in a while, they see something that their parents say is better, but they don't actually see it get better. They just see it not get worse for a while.
absolutely. I mean, look, if you're in high school now, Trump has been made either elected or campaigning.
Right,
They're almost their whole aware lives. So
right.
So this is it. This is what America
Well, and,
is.
and part of the reason I think that it feels so much harder now is like Reagan and Bush one were bad. I mean, Reagan in particular, bad, very, very bad. Like war crimes and terror about the government, the economy, whatever.
Yeah. Well,
But then we got 8 years of not getting worse, not necessarily getting better, but not getting worse. And then Bush and Cheney, bad, really bad. More war crimes, more tearing apart the economy, almost destroyed the world economy. But then we got 8 years of not getting worse.
you notice there's that the things get. It's not just it's objective. I mean, things get worse. The economy keeps falling apart under Republicans, and yet they still have the reputation of the ones who are sober and careful and
For the first time ever, recent polling has American people trusting Democrats on the economy by like 2 points better than Republicans. Now, mind you, this is like 39 to 37, with 40% of the population not trusting either of them.
right, right. Well, it's about time we edge them out. They got to build on that lead. Keep showing those graphs.
Well, but then like the real key though is then we have to do something with it, not just not let things get worse.
Well, that's true. Yeah. I mean, when you talk about those 8 years, those Democratic presidents who were in office for 8 years, one was triangulating and was deliberately moderate and conciliatory to Republicans, and the other one was just careful to a fault. Um, and Republicans are not. They get in
No,
there and look at they break things and
I don't know anything about Project 2025. Hey, this guy, the guy that wrote Project 2025, I put him in charge of things.
right.
What are you talking about? I never said I didn't know anything about Project 2025. Oh, wait. Oh, that interview.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
let's talk
yeah.
your history because you
Oh,
have an
great.
interesting road to political comics. You're a lawyer, or at least were, right?
Yeah,
And,
I went
and
to,
an undergrad in econ.
yep.
Again, I'm only doing and like not from nothing colleges, though. I'm one of the ones that like I'm starting to wonder how good Harvard Law School is. No offense.
I'm I'm the black sheep of an
Based
entire
on some of the,
generation
some
at
some of the Supreme Court, Harvard Law,
oh, I
and
know.
Yale
Yeah,
Law.
I know.
um,
Um, no, I what did yeah, no, I was trying to think of yeah, there have been more Supreme Court justices from Harvard Law School than cartoonists. Only one cartoonist. Several
are
Supreme
you
Court.
certain it's only one cartoonist? We,
No,
we
there
might have to look
well,
into that.
yeah, I think there have been people who have done comics. I think as a career, I think that's right.
Because there is and I don't I'd have to look this guy up. Have you ever seen there is a illustrated guide to law
Oh, okay.
web comics? Here, I'll share it with you.
Even if there's two, we're still outnumbered by the Supreme
Well,
Court
yeah.
justices. So yeah, I did oh,
that
you're going to
that
do a screen
Yeah, I
sharing.
can share the screen really quick.
I did do I didn't realize that I could be a cartoonist until I was in law school. There was an ad in the law school newspaper for a cartoonist. And I I answered the ad. I figured I'm not good, but they're looking for one, so I'll raise my
Okay.
hand. And I began doing comics there, and I really just found my voice there. I was never good before then.
Okay.
And then I really got interested in doing that. I was a lawyer. I quit to become a cartoonist, and quickly, after a few months, went back into law. And then I got jobs in finance. Um, but starting in 1990, while I was a lawyer and then in finance, I just did a comic strip every week, no matter what. And
I mean, see, I thought that people who didn't like the law became baseball writers because I mean that's what Craig Calcaterra and Brett Taylor are.
well,
Ironically, both in
there's a lot of
Columbus,
lapsed
Ohio.
lawyers. There's a lot of lapsed lawyers in every field, restaurateurs, everything,
I've always thought it was
screenwriters.
funny that like the two guys that for the long I mean because Rob Nyers my favorite were yeah still my favorite baseball writer. Posanski gives a run for his money. But the two guys that like write daily that I read all the time are Craig Calcaterra, who started his blog when he was still a lawyer. It was called Shyster Ball,
Hmm,
but eventually wound up leaving the law for NBC's Hardball Talk, and now has his own newsletter called Cup of Coffee. And I've always loved his take on baseball because he doesn't get too precious about the dumb stuff. He is statistically minded, but not so much so that he doesn't notice the beautiful stuff,
right.
that sort of thing. And particularly since he's got his own newsletter, half of it goes to whatever the hell he wants to write about. So, you know, it can be political commentary, musical commentary, whatever. So he's just fun to read. But then I'm a diehard Cubs fan, and Bleacher Nation was founded by Brett Taylor, who's also a lapsed lawyer. Ironically, they also both live in Columbus, Ohio, which made me really, really wonder what was it about the law in Columbus, Ohio that made people decide to write about baseball.
There's just a lot of people who don't like practicing the law, but they're still loudmouths and and who can't shut up and will write endlessly. So a lot of writers, one maybe two cartoonists from the one particular law school. So yeah, I just and for a few years I've only been doing comics. So these books and my Inner Hive, which is a subscription service where people can subscribe to the comic. I just sort of expanded my revenue sources and been really happy and gratified and thankful for everything that's happened in the last few years because it's a lot better to focus on my comics and things that are ancillary to it than when my kids were little, I would come home from work on one night a week, Thursdays. I would get them in the bath, have dinner with them, get them in the bath. My wife was doing all this stuff. And then when they went to bed, I would start drawing the comic and I would pull an all-nighter every Thursday night and then go to work on Friday and just keep my head low and
Right.
try not to schedule too much stuff for Fridays. But I did that for years, and and just write it whenever I can, just on the subway, trying to fall asleep, just whatever. It was really hard, but I've just always been driven. I've always loved it. I'm so proud to be a cartoonist. It's something I loved growing up, and yeah,
Was it something your firm knew about while you were doing it?
yeah, I would always tell
Okay.
them, but I wouldn't
Okay.
talk about it much. So I did feel as though I was kind of living a double life. But
Double
yeah,
life.
everyone, I would just sort of tell that, I worked for Merrill Lynch for many years, and I had a pretty big job there. And I would just tell like my boss, they didn't really they didn't care in the least. They were like, oh, okay. So anyway, about this,
So was
that
this
was about it.
before or after you started getting political though?
This would have been
I'm just
in the
thinking
middle, in the
some of the
middle.
billionaire ones.
Yeah.
I don't know how
While I
much
was, I'll
Maryland.
tell you this, while I was doing that, I remember in particular, that was the particular time, like that 10-year period, when I was maybe less political and more like anti-corporate.
Okay.
And that was even, my Merrill Lynch
I mean,
career
is it
ended with
possible to
the
be apolitically anti-corporate?
well,
I
not
mean,
topically
now.
political, not about politicians. I would do less
Gotcha.
about a
Okay.
particular politician, but more about the nature of corporations, the nature of corporate life. Uh, and so, yeah, that my Merrill Lynch career was ended by the financial crisis of 2008.
Oh, so Cheney.
I was writing
Cheney
about that up
killed your
until then.
financial career. I see. Yeah. got to put this stuff on him today. He can't defend himself anymore.
Right. That's right. So yeah, it was, yeah, so I had this double life and now I'm just doing the comics
So,
and, with
as
all
I
this,
think about it, doesn't that mean that we should thank him
uh,
because we have your comics? And if he hadn't destroyed the financial system,
I don't know.
who knows?
If
Maybe at some point you would have decided that the comics had to be let go, or
my first of all, my comics clearly aren't worth that. But second of all, I was doing a comic every weekend then too. So I do a comic every week no matter what. That's what I found. It's been 35 years and
35 years
every
of it.
ding dong week. Yeah, the first one in the first volume one of the complete Tom Dancing Bug Secret Origins is that starts with the comics in 1990. The first comic is a comic called Bad Fetus.
Yes. I mean, I don't know if I don't know, but how do you call that one apolitical?
Well, it's true. It's about something. I when I say, I write so much about Trump and
No, I understand.
the
I
specific
understand.
things that he's
Well,
doing,
and
but it's true. And but that one, even that one, there will be like there's many comics after that that are about let's see, Schluff, a giant monster who comes to Earth and only to take naps. Human Man, a
well,
superhero who
I
was
mean, Schluff, a giant alien who comes to America just to nap and suck our resources up.
Oh, come on. This is from 1992. You see, people, that's what happens. I do a comic, an old comic that has to do with that has totally absurdist from 1992. And then
I was
in the comments there will be like, oh, this is about Trump. He's taken
I
over
was
our
literally just
brains.
making the point that
Yes,
and it
yes.
drives me up the wall because I think it's one of the reasons that people don't talk to each other anymore is at this point, like everything has been made political by somebody.
Right.
If you
Yeah, and
say you
that's
should be nice to somebody, it's political.
right. No, you shouldn't. You pinko.
Well, I mean, that depends.
Right. My one of my favorite characters from the early days, who I don't use I should say much anymore. I don't use anymore, is Charlie the Australopithecine. He's an ape man from the Pliocene epoch, and he just lives in present day for with no explanation. And I used to love doing those. So yeah, they were just very 1990s, especially the early 90s, just very silly.
Okay, you got to be right on the cartoonist thing because I'm going through famous Harvard law grads at on Wikipedia, and you don't pop up until we get down to the other category, which is underneath the sports figures category.
Right. There's more sports figures from Harvard Law School than cartoonists.
I
So
mean,
there's just
don't get me
one.
wrong, most of them are like owners or general managers.
Sure.
Though there's a Eddie Grant, Harvard Eddie, played baseball from 1905 to 1915. Uh, uh, a couple of sailing bronze medalist, freestyle swimmer
There
with
you go.
multiple Olympic gold medals,
Probably law school after
cou-
that.
couple of figure skaters.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably law school after that. And of course, both Rob Manfred and Michael Weiner. So, like, it used to be that a couple Harvard law grads had to go up against each other in baseball collective bargaining.
That's right. Um, yeah, yeah, trained by the same professors. So yeah,
That's
that's
sad to me because like Michael Weiner was cool and Rob Manfred is so not.
mm, I don't know.
He was probably in with the Federalist crowd.
Yeah,
And
there
Weiner
was a
might have
bunch
written
there.
for the
Yeah.
Lampoon. Who knows?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I
I'll,
wish I
I'll
had.
I'll get done with this rabbit hole.
That's okay.
I'll switch. I'll switch screens.
I'm just
I'm
glad I'm
looking.
on there. I'm glad I made it
But
under
yeah, no,
other.
it is a. I mean, like I get that you love cartooning and therefore it became the weekly habit. And as I think about it, I can't think of anything that I've done every week for 35 years. Of course, I was 35 years ago. So like some things have changed. Um,
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it wasn't just like a compulsion or a hobby. At the time that I was doing this and, bathing the kids and I was, every week in the Washington Post and the Village Voice and, hundreds of newspapers and syndicated. So
no, no, I know it was a
it
job
had
too.
grown. It had grown to that point. But I just needed, I was just at
But
that time I needed the day job with three little
but that's
kids.
where I was going. Like overall, like at least if one chooses that they have, we'll call it flexible morals and ethics, there's more money to be made in your day jobs in the financial world
Yes,
and the
absolutely.
law world. I mean, how does somebody who, without trying very hard, could have wound up like working for Dick Cheney and Donald Trump wind up like lampooning them instead? I mean, other than like firsthand knowledge and whatnot, but you had to make conscious decisions in there that like, I mean, and I hope that most of them are just because you're a good guy and went like, that's wrong. But it's
Well, yeah, no, I
fascinating to
was,
me when I see somebody with
yeah, no, I was never going
with a
to be working
particular
for,
pedigree that
yeah, I never would have been working for Donald Trump. But I could have just like said, I'm not going to be a cartoonist. It makes no sense. I'm going to just devote myself to my, this career in law and then finance. That career probably would have gone better, probably, given the fact that I was, staying up all night once a week. But no, but it went well, and the cartooning did well. It was really it was a hard time, but also really really exciting.
yeah. And I mean clearly something that you enjoy
I remember one
because
time walking with my daughter in a stroller, walked by a newsstand when there used to be newsstands in New York City, and seeing that I was this was really a great moment. I was in the Village Voice where I was every week. I was in the New York Times on the editorial page, and I was in that week's New Yorker with a full page spot. And I
interesting.
had to I would like it hit me like, wow, that's pretty good. That's
Now, did you pull out a Sharpie and just sign them all for
no.
the future
I
purchasers?
kept walking. I probably was late for a birthday party for my daughter.
um, like just as I mean, I've got pulled up the Clover Press page. So I'm just looking at the covers of your comics
Man,
and
I
the
love
various.
designing the cover. It was a great pleasure because all the covers, many of the covers are evoke either a comic, an old comic, or a style of comic, or in one case Star Wars, in one case
Yep,
Norman Rockwell,
yep.
in one case Peanuts.
The Action Comics, Tintin,
Yep. And then
and that's exactly where I was going. One of my favorite questions to ask people, and I want to ask it even more of you because you clearly have a deep knowledge of different kinds of comics. You know, they show up in your work in parody and homage in your styles. Um, Give me your comics biography, and by that I don't mean your bibliography. We know your bibliography. It's easy to find your bibliography. Talk to me about like the earliest comics you remember reading, the comics that started making you think, "Hey, I want to do this kind of." You know, what made you the ones who made you who you are. I mean, I know that I have comics. I'm like, oh, like I read this and it made me start looking at this differently. Like, talk to me about comics that have been meaningful to you throughout your life for whatever reason they've been meaningful.
yeah, this is it's a lifelong conversation. And I guess the earliest would be It All Starts with Peanuts was my favorite comic strip, and I just loved it. I found it so beautiful, so funny. I mean, it was at a time when Peanuts was like one of the number one pop culture phenomenons in the world. Um, in the, let's say, when I was very little in the late 60s, when I was a toddler. Um, but then Mad Magazine was a huge specific influence because I would say, years later, I loved Mad, and I would collect the paperbacks, and my brother and I would get the magazines. And I would say that's a more specific influence because years later, when I started the comic strip, Tom the Dancing Bug, I think if I would have articulated what my idea was, it would have been that it's a mad magazine where I'm the entire gang of idiots. I'm Al Jaffe and Don Martin. Dave Berg. Mort Drucker. So
Okay, I want to start seeing marginal margins in your
and
future comics.
Sergio, yeah, that's so. And that's really what Tom Dancing Bug is. It's like a different style every week. It's I try to be like a different cartoonist every week. Um, and then well, I grew to love superheroes and Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. That's one of the covers is as a takeoff of Fantastic
Hmm.
Four, number one. Um, as I got older, Doonesbury was a huge influence, and I really loved those and Bloom County. And when I tried to be a cartoon, I mentioned before, I tried to be a cartoonist in college before law school, and I was unduly influenced by Doonesbury. I tried to be Gary Trudeau, and I just was too derivative, and it wasn't good. Um, and then at a comics shop in Cambridge, Massachusetts, I found Bill Griffith's Zippy. Are We Having Fun Yet? Which was a graphic novel featuring his character, um, and it just blew my mind because it opened up. I don't have to be like Gary Trudeau. I can be it was just wild. Every page was filled with ideas that just was so exciting. Um, and that was what really influenced my, when it came time to sit down and submit a comic to the law school newspaper, I think it was Zippy and thinking about Mad Magazine, and trying to be like those, more sketch based, more premise based, and almost like SNL sketches. Each one's an SNL sketch. Um, so that was a tremendous influence. But yeah, I mean, just comics in general. And what I like to do is 'cause I loved comics so much as a kid. One of the things that I find myself doing a lot is using older comics from when I was a kid, or even children's books. Like I do a lot of Richard Scarry parodies. You know that children's author,
Hmm.
these
Oh
cute
yeah.
little animals in a busy
Yep.
town. And I take them and then parody them in for today's times. And I find that to be, I'm sort of thinking about this backwards because I don't think about this consciously. But when I look at all the stuff I've done, it's pretty obvious that I find it interesting to take something like Richard Scarry or Peanuts or Calvin and Hobbes and then bring it into the current day, and the juxtaposition of the innocence of what I love about those older comics, to what's going on today, I find very powerful. So I do a lot of parodies using those older comics from an innocent time,
You've
and
got
it's yeah,
Richard Scarry's 21st Century Busy Town Jobs.
yes,
Has happened a few times. Those are
yes. I've
those
done
are
a number
always
of
fun.
those, and those are
Yeah.
always big hits. And it's so weird because the day that I draw those, or the 2 days that I draw those, I'm drawing like these horrible things that are going on, literally like ICE kidnappings, but I'm
Right.
drawing these cute animals, and I'm actually so happy, like looking back and forth to like a Richard Scarry book, and like I try to draw them obviously to make them my point, and also to be as um, have as much fidelity as possible. Um, I try to draw them as cute as possible, and as much like Richard Scarry as I possibly can, as my talents will allow me. So I'm having a wonderful day drawing these cute animals. and I kind of forget that what it is that I'm drawing. Same thing with Peanuts. When I get to draw, I do these Peanuts parodies, and when I get to draw, Linus, I'm in that world. I'm looking at his at Schultz's comics, and I'm drawing Linus, and I'm basically desecrating what what Schultz did by
I
putting it
mean,
into this world. But
they're funny enough that I forgive you for what you've done with Calvin and Hobbes.
oh, I don't know if I can because it's horrible. I mean, Linus is my favorite character or maybe person ever, and I've drawn him as a Q nut
Yeah,
instead of a
yeah,
peanut.
right.
And so I can't forgive myself, but this is what I find
But
myself doing.
I mean, like, I probably have. I mean, I love Peanuts, but I probably think of Calvin and Hobbes the way you think of Peanuts.
Yes, no, I
That's
love
my era
Calvin and
and
Hobbes too.
whatnot. So,
Yes, yes, sure.
like every
Yeah,
one of those
to
Don
draw.
and John
Yeah.
strips, I
Oh
like.
God.
I laugh and I want to strangle you. I want to go Homer Simpson on you.
I hear you. I've done so many of those. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I, I'm going to ask you to tell me about this because I know what it evokes in me, but it's not clear enough that I'm certain that it's intentional. Hollingsworth Hound.
Yeah.
Where do you feel like that comes from? Where are you?
Oh, it's very specific. I was reading Karl Barks at the
Okay.
time,
Okay.
and
I was 99% certain that
yeah,
we were
it's a
doing a
Karl
Barks thing.
Barksy kind of Looney Tunes kind of
Well, but I also particularly like that you flip the dogs and the ducks.
yes, that's right. Well, flip them. I mean, good like the Beagle Boys, and I just
Well, like
well
most of the
let me tell
dogs
you.
in Carl Barks are either the Beagle Boys or they're like just everyday whatnot. And then you've got Scrooge McDuck is the big,
Right, right. Well, what I right, that's
whereas
absolutely
you
right.
have the
Yes.
lucky duck that's poor and therefore doesn't have to pay taxes.
Well, this was one of the best gifts I ever got was a an editorial in the Wall Street Journal. I think it was in 2002. That's when Lucky Ducky started. When they actually
Okay.
had an editorial that said, "Poor people are lucky duckies," was the phrase they used because they don't have to pay taxes. Um, and that was so, jaw dropping that these, the rich journalist in an ivory
Do you
tower.
remember who wrote that? Because like,
I think it was an editorial board. It was
oh
not
my
an op-ed piece.
God.
It was like the Wall Street Journal says poor people
It,
are lucky duckies. And so
in other words, they're yet another. I mean, because this is uh, the thing that's being, I think, hammered home by the most people talking about Dick Cheney today is like, sure, he flipped and endorsed Kamala instead of Donald Trump, but like, at no point did he realize or did he recognize that like Trump uses the powers that he opened the door to.
oh man, don't even yes, absolutely. The expansion of
And
the
I
executive
feel about the
powers.
same way about the
Yeah.
Wall Street Journal
Yeah.
editorial board. It's like,
No.
oh, now you're finally getting that having a functioning government might be a good thing.
Well,
Where were you 10 years ago?
exactly. Well, when I
Or
saw that
20
headline,
or 40?
at the time I saw that headline, I was reading the, I was collecting the Karl Barks comics for my kids and for myself.
They're so good.
And so I just said, "Oh my God, this is so perfect to have to be given this gift." And so I did a Lucky Ducky one comic, and I just realized this is a whole series, and it's just been fantastic. And now Hollingsworth Hound, who is his nemesis, who keeps calling saying that Lucky Duck, this rich dog who keeps thinking that Lucky Ducky always wins because he's poor. He's has his own solo comics. It's I've done dozens of these.
Yeah.
And yeah, the irony is just so rich. And then again, I get to draw like Karl Barks for a day. It's a
Yeah.
blast. I pull out the old comics and copy them.
No, I like the only guy that I'll give like, and you do a different thing because you do the style and your own thing, whereas Bob
Sequoia.
really, really copies, and then
You're
like
saying you're going to say Sequoia.
Sikorak. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
friend, and yeah, he is
Friend of mine
uncanny.
too.
He is
He's a
uncanny.
regular.
He is the king of doing this. And believe me, if I were good enough, I would do that too. But
Right.
instead, I sort of shine through. I get like 80% there or 90% if I'm lucky. Some people have been very kind and said it's, whatever percentage. But I know that I'm falling short and that you can see me behind there and you can't see Bob at all. You just see the character, but you can see me. And oh, I sort of can forgive myself or give myself some slack in thinking that, you can see me and maybe that helps the humor because it's not perfectly
I think it
there. You
does.
can see
I mean,
me and you,
particularly because you guys are doing slightly different things, like because he's generally adapting existing things and
yes,
sometimes using the choice of image to make statements, but not as much having the words, like whereas you're writing a story. So I think it would be jarring if it really felt like it was Calvin and Hobbes
that's interesting.
rather than homage. Does that make
Well,
sense?
I can tell you this, Ted, it's not for a lack of trying. It's for a lack of
Well,
talent. But
well, I
so
mean,
if I mean if it
er,
happily helps, then that's great. I think
well, I mean,
satire,
there is one level of lack of trying. John is not a tiger.
John. Oh
Donald and
yes,
John.
right. Oh,
John is
right,
not a
right.
tiger.
No,
So,
no, I'm
so
adapting it. Right, exactly. I am changing things for the purposes of the story that I'm telling. So yeah, you're referring to Donald and John is a Trump and his
imaginary
imaginary
publicist.
publicist are drawn like Calvin and Hobbes,
Right.
the boy and his imaginary tiger. So yeah, I'm drawing a little and a big Trump, because his imaginary publicist is in fact him,
Of course.
and I've done a ton of those. But yeah, so I'm changing.
And
I'm
every
changing
one, I laugh and want to strangle you all at once.
it. It was
But I
not.
think, but I think if you'd made the imaginary publicist a tiger, I would really want to strangle you.
No, that's right. I don't want
I mean,
to.
even if it had been a tiger that looked like Trump, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't think of that.
so I think that just that, and because I agree, you're probably about 80% on. I mean, like with the barks, I wanted to ask rather than assume, just because
Right.
I don't know all of my cartoonists well enough that it
Yeah.
wasn't possible that
Yeah.
that you were doing somebody else, but they really looked like Duckburg
You're right.
dogs.
No, no, yeah, but Lucky Ducky doesn't look like a Karl Barks duck, and
No,
that's
he
deliberate.
looks.
He has a little bit of Daffy Ducky
Yeah, I was
DNA.
about to say
He's
he
got,
looks more
yeah,
like Daffy
yeah. So
than
I'm
Donald.
I'm I'm mixing things up. That wasn't supposed to be a direct parody of anything's of, let's say Donald Duck. So that was just evoking that. So yeah, I play different rules for each thing that I do. That's
Right.
that's for sure. But the during the 2016 election, um, that was Trump's first one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, as it
Yeah.
got
Believe
as
it or
it
not,
got
there have only been two
as it
or
as it got
three, I guess. He
close.
lost
Well,
one.
he lost one.
Uh,
As it was closing in, I think it was in late October. I had, or maybe a little bit earlier, I had discovered this Donald and John format, and I had decided in late October I want to do a daily comic strip until the election for a month of daily Donald and Johns, as though it was like Calvin and Hobbes. I actually had to talk to my family about it. I'm like, this is going to be tough. I got to do my comic strip and my job and do a daily comic strip. It's going to be a sprint for a month, and we said I would do it. And it was Matt Bors. I went to Matt because at the time he had a great
the nib,
comics website, the Nib,
the nib.
and I
Yeah,
said, "Do you want to run a daily comic strip, Donald and John?" And he was like all on board. And so
I
every
remember.
every
I
ding
read
dong
every
day,
one
I
of
was
them.
I was did a new Donald and John. There
I
was so much
was
material. It was
I was
incredible.
so sad when he ended the nib. That was such a
Oh,
part
you and
of
me
my
both,
morning
brother.
was the
Yeah,
nib.
Yeah.
was the Nib newsletter.
But you know what I told him at the time, and it's true. What it gave him time was to do other stuff, and now
Oh,
he's
absolutely.
doing all these great comic books. So
I mean,
that's
his Justice Warriors are fantastic. I can't believe he's made Toxic Avenger something that I want to read.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's wonderful. So he's yeah,
yeah, no,
it's
he's doing great, and I love him and all that. But I miss my daily
yeah. It was
curated political cartoons.
it almost died a few times, or at least they kept changing. It would be sponsored. It would be on a company would sponsor it and have it on their website. Then they'd cancel it or go out of business. Then
Right.
he just scrambled and struggled to keep
Hmm.
on doing that and to keep
Yep.
on paying cartoonists for these kind of
Yep.
comics. And he fought a really good fight. And now it's time for him to enjoy himself
No, I was
making comic books.
he was at Cartoons Crossroads the right after, I forget if he'd actually closed up shop or if he just announced that he was closing up shop soon. So they turned the karaoke night into the Matt Bohr's Nib send off.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry I missed that. Yeah.
Caitlin McGurk sang "My Way" to him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that
Oh
was
man. I don't go
fantastic.
to
That was the
enough.
night that I met Matt. So
Oh,
that
great.
was
I don't
yeah.
go to enough conventions because for so
Well,
many years I had a job and
uh,
couldn't get away and kids. But I'd like to start going to more because I always have a blast.
I will say it again over the airwaves here and to the for the first time to you. Um, Comics Cartoons Crossroad Columbus is the one that you should go to, whether you're invited and tabling or not. You should just go as a
I
fan.
I went to one.
Yeah,
It was combined with a editorial cartoonist convention, but I think it was too
it often
close.
is.
It was too close to COVID, and I think
Okay,
it was
so it's
not
probably the
it
one
wasn't
right
that
before.
it wasn't at full strength.
Okay,
Yeah, and
yeah.
so I felt as though it was a little light.
Well,
Um,
I mean, it's not a massive convention, just
yeah,
because the way it works is like Wednesday and Thursday are essentially like classroom type days.
right,
Friday is the beginning of more public friendly um panels, but it's still all over at the Billy Ireland.
right.
And then the two keynotes are that night at the center named for the guy that like was good friends with Epstein. So I don't like to name the center.
Okay, I
His
won't
name's
guess.
all over Ohio State
Oh
because
God.
he's like one of the richest guys in Ohio. But
Oh geez.
um, but like so the two keynotes are there, and in between they have their award ceremony slash um just like reception, which I mean that's one of the cool things is like the public is invited to the reception. So like you can hang out with Art Spiegelman
Right. That's
having hors d'oeuvres prepared by the Ohio State Culinary Department.
nice. Yeah. No, I'm gonna
Um,
give it another shot because it
and then
was a
Saturday and Sunday are over at the public library,
right,
where it's like it's like a small press con, not a
right.
huge, but small press con with like the problem is figuring out which panel to go to and how to find time to also walk the floor because at any given time there are two panels that I want to be at
Sure.
and I want to walk around and meet people and buy things.
Yeah. No, it's great.
But then their after parties are on the schedule too, so like you know that oh, I can go karaoke with Nate Powell.
It's
um
good. That the ones that I go to the most are SPX and Mocha. So
SPX
those are
is
those
one
are
that I
always
want to
good for
get
me.
to.
Yeah.
Uh uh my friend Dennis goes to SPX every year,
Hmm.
and generally Mocha because he's in Massachusetts now.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
those are the either easier for me to get to and they're great shows and
right.
and really my kind of, audience as opposed to
Yeah.
like, New York Comic Con or
Yeah, no. Well,
that
and
kind of.
that's like Cartoons Crossroads is more that audience.
Yes,
It just
absolutely.
also is free is great. In terms of travel, the fact that Ohio State is a major college football town, but the convention is never on a football weekend, means that there is a plethora of inexpensive rental hotel rooms or
Mm, right,
Verbo,
right. A lot of options.
Airbnb, whatever. I mean, I had a like whole apartment to myself for 4 nights one year for like less than $200.
Oh, wow.
You know,
That's great. Yeah,
um,
yeah. I got to try it again.
yeah. But I got to get to SPX because I mean they got the Ringos. SPX is Ringos,
SPX
right?
is, I'm not sure.
I think it's the Ringos. Yeah. It's still weird to me that when I said my friend Dennis, I mean my friend Dennis Kitchen, because
Oh,
we're
yes. Oh,
baseball buddies. We met at
oh,
Cartoon Crossroads,
there's a
but we're
good,
baseball buddies.
oh, well,
So I
yes,
was
sure.
having to remember because like my surreal moment of the year was when his daughter won a Ringo. So I texted him to go, "Hey, Violet won a Ringo." And then I'm like, "Wait a minute. I just texted my friend Dennis that his daughter won a Ringo." And I did it completely like just like it was a thing that you do. What planet do I live on?
That's great.
Um,
Yeah, I've seen him there at the,
yeah, no, he's there pretty much every year.
yeah,
I think because again, he's in Massachusetts now, so his two close ones are Mocha and SPX. Kitchen
sure.
Sink is actually from Milwaukee though, which is our other because I live right between Chicago and Milwaukee, so when he
I
comes to visit
see.
family, I can shoot up there.
Got it.
Um, but yeah, so that actually that leads perfectly to this is one of my newer questions, but I like it. Um, one of the things that I have discovered in my 4 years next month of podcasting. So I've been in the comics world as anything other than a fanboy for a relatively short period of time. Is like
Congratulations.
how many surreal experiences or changes to my life have occurred just because I have a dinky little podcast. But more importantly, as I get to know more comics people, it seems like we all have this feeling that person that like at one point was oh my god this person and now is just Joe or
Yes.
or or like the first time I asked this question I was asking Matt Wagner, so I mean he had the great answer. He got asked to co-write the Django Zorro series with Quentin Tarantino. And like right up
Hmm.
until the point where he was ringing Quentin's doorbell, he was certain that it was either a hoax or Quentin was going to bail out. And then he spent a weekend watching movies and writing comics with Quentin Tarantino.
Oh my God, it's great.
Right. So, like, what surreal either event or new normal has occurred to you? I mean, obviously, I'm not asking you to dish tea. I'm not asking you to like but like it's cool to me how close the community is even when it's like I never would have introduced myself to Dennis Kitchen but he was a friend of a friend and she introduced me.
Yeah. Well, I guess a couple things come to mind. One is I really haven't really become friends with the people who were my heroes, and I've met a few. Um, Matt Groening was a few years ahead of me, and I've met him a few times. We're not buddies or anything. I would love to be, but the truth is
Okay,
we're
Matt,
we're
Matt, first Ruben would love to be buddies. So Matt, I'm certain you're
yeah,
listening, Matt. Um and he's a cool guy. I'll vouch for Ruben, but also my wife's the biggest Simpsons fan in the world. So if you want to
yeah.
come on 22
No,
panels
it's
talk Simpsons, I'll talk life and hell with you because that's how long I've
Life in
been a
Hell.
fan.
That's it. Life in Hell and Simpsons. And so it's always I'm always so and Gary Trudeau, who I mentioned,
Oh,
become, friendly with him. They both have been so nice, and so they're both like, not they're like sort of big brothers,
right,
few years ahead of me, but a huge influences, and but not necessarily buddies who I can call up and let's say let's throw the frisbee around. Then maybe the
right.
closest I've come to that really may be someone even older, and that's Al Jaffe, who I
Whoa.
met. I know. Well, when I first, it was so early. I had
Right.
just really started, and I was only in a few newspapers. And I went to a party, and he was there, and I went over and introduced myself, and he knew who I was and knew my comic strip, and that
Yeah.
that was
That's a crazy
an
feeling.
all
I
time
get
great
that
moment.
sometimes. I mean, I joke about our low listenership, but one of the reasons, A, I'm not certain it's as low as some of my numbers say, and B, I'm certain that even if it's low, it's like A, people that like it, and B, people very much in the industry, because more than once I've like handed my business card to somebody that I was almost scared to hand them the business card and had them go, "Oh, I've listened to your stuff."
Oh, that's yeah. I mean, it's
And it's like,
great, especially
"You've
for
what?"
a hero. Yeah, that's so that was thrilling. And then we did become friends. I mean, I had
Yeah.
dinners with him, and I'd see him at a party. We would always make our way to each other and hang out. I knew his wife. That was really wonderful. And maybe the closest I've
Yeah.
come, as a friend to someone who I regarded as a hero.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But
I
when you
mean,
say like a pinch me moment, like wow, I can't believe this. It will sound corny, but it really is true. Every day, I think how lucky I am for my readers, for the people who are so enthusiastic about my comic strip that they join a subscription and pay money to get it a day before it's published anywhere, who buy these books. Um, I mean, I'm so amazed and grateful for that every day because I'm not someone who like expected this, like,
no.
growing up as like an artist and like, yes, I'm gonna be able to
I
make a
don't think
living at this.
anybody in comics expects it. And
Well,
even those who like expect it when they're high schoolers, but by the time they've been trying for 5 years, they realize that there's no money in comics.
right.
And that no money has to be stretched among a lot of people.
But I think there are people who grew up thinking I'm going to be an artist and I'm going to make a living at this. And then whatever obstacles they had, once they make it, they're like, yeah, that's right. Of course. And I've never felt that. I only
I
feel,
mean, I suppose there might be, but I haven't met any yet.
yeah, I'm just
I've
so,
talked to a lot of people on this
yeah.
podcast, Ruben. I haven't met any that like,
Well, it's just that's my pinch me moment every
yeah.
day is that
No, I
my
imagine.
God, that there's enough people who like it and then some people who love it. I'm just amazed by it. And that's what, why I worked so hard at it.
I mean that's another thing I actually love about this industry is that in general the people are aware enough that they appreciate what successes they have, the people who like their stuff. They don't get into the you don't understand the blood, sweat, and tears. You need to give me more respect.
Well, there's
It's
blood,
like
sweat, and tears, but I don't feel as though I deserve any respect for it. But
right,
so whatever I get,
but you're happy for it,
I'm
right?
so thankful for. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean these books are an incredible example. The fact that I have, if
Was
you
this your
would,
first Kickstarter?
yes, yeah, because they did the other ones through traditional retailing. So
I don't
these first two they're doing on this Kickstarter. So this
I don't
is my
remember.
first.
Yeah, they didn't put it up specifically. Let me see if they because I do remember it funded ridiculously. Funded on October 28th. Did it go live on the 28th
Yeah.
too? Yeah. So like I mean two questions. First, were you watching? Because like some
I
people
did.
they did.
I did watch, but
Did
what happened
what did it
was
feel like to see it spin?
it's fantastic, and I announced it to the Inner Hive, which is this subscription service, and they just like it's just like Inner Hive Assemble, and they just rise to it.
Right.
So that was fantastic, and now we have over 2 weeks left, and I'm just
Yeah.
trying to get more people on board. I'd love to see this really get in a lot of people's hands, and I'm really proud of these comics. Most of them have never been seen, barely been seen by me since they were published. I don't, I file them away.
Right.
But they are really different from what I do now. And in some ways, they're the most audacious work I've ever done because I was swinging for the fences every week, doing crazy stuff, and then seeing, finding my voice. In order to do that, you gotta really take big swings, and so I have great fondness for this. And the characters, you can see them develop. You can see them, the first time that they show up, and then how they change. So you see Godman and Charlie and Harvey Richards, Lawyer for Children, which is was my most popular character for years, and I haven't used him in probably 2 decades.
I mean, it feels like children need a lawyer right now.
Harvey Richards, Lawyer for Children, was a guy who would he
Was he
would
not a good lawyer for
advise
children?
children, but on their own laws. So like a kid
Oh,
would go to him and say, someone, well, the biggest one was someone accused me of farting, and these, so he would cite the law. He who smelt it dealt it.
I love it. I love it.
I did a bunch of those, and that got by far the most interest from Hollywood of any of my characters.
Of course,
I got a
particularly in the 90s.
it
I
was
mean,
in the early
didn't
2000s that it
okay.
was optioned, and then by New Line renewed option, and they purchased the character. Lots of scripts developed by top script writers. At one point, Stephen Colbert was in to play Harvey Richards. He was like, "I'm in."
Nice.
At least I was told
Nice.
that by my producers.
Nice.
And then a year later, he was not in.
So when
But
you're his final guest, which clearly is going to happen, that's going to be your next wow moment. Is
then I'll
he's
pinch
like, oh,
myself.
I need the Tom the Vanishing Bug guy to be on. You'll say, were you really in on that movie?
That's
And he's
right.
like, not only was I in, it's my next project.
He was supposedly working on a rewrite with his
Okay.
partner. That's what I was, and I was
I
so excited.
I mean, another one of my good friends that I've developed because of this podcast is Christopher Cantwell, who does fantastic comics, but also created and wrote *Halt and Catch Fire*, um,
Hmm.
the AMC TV series. So the number of crazy stories I've heard about things that almost were or might have been or
Yeah,
or
no, that's
dragged out or started years ago and now they're finally
sure. I mean, in the comics
Hollywood is
world,
like the
yeah.
single weirdest place for writers
Oh
in the
man,
world.
I'd spent so much time working on this Harvey Richards project when rewrites, and then I would write treatments. They would fly me out to Hollywood, and then I would do other meetings there, like general meetings, and then meetings about, and then I would try to pitch other stuff. And I had something going with Fox for a show, Cartoon Network. Nothing ever came of it, and was never able to turn anything into a finished product. I got paid some
Again,
stuff here and there, but
yeah.
never got it to
No,
work.
that's it's such a weird I had Sherman Alexie on and
Hmm. Wow.
he was hired to write the Daredevil movie. They put him on a plane to fly down and sign the contracts. And while he was on the plane, um, trying to remember who directed the Daredevil movie, but I think it was Brett Ratner, who just
Hmm.
come off of um his Mission Impossible movie. So he was the thing in Hollywood at the time. And they just landed him to do something else. And they asked him if there was anything else he wanted to do. And he said, I really want to do Daredevil, but he also really wanted to write it. So literally, while Sherman was in the air, thinking that he was flying to Hollywood to write the script for his favorite comic book character,
Yeah. Someone else
it went to
swoop.
somebody else.
Oh God. Yeah.
He's on the studio president's private jet from
Well,
Seattle to,
at least he got that.
yeah, but he wound up flying Mark Steven Johnson. It wasn't even Brett Ratner. Mark Steven Johnson,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
who I don't know what he'd done before that. I
Yeah,
guess he'd done
didn't.
Grumpy Old Men.
Wow.
How you go from Grumpy Old Men to Daredevil is, um, but yeah, no, he was considered the big gat. They wanted him,
But he
um,
wanted to write it.
but he wanted to write it.
Yep.
So Sherman got there, and like there was, he told me that he still remembered the secretary's name because she's like, she was really nice. She's like, it's gonna be a minute, because apparently they were
God.
still in
He
the
he was probably told by the secretary and then
yep,
had to leave. Yeah.
yep, and they're like, we still have a. He's like, no, no, I don't want to stay. He booked himself a coach flight home
Oh God.
to Hollywood.
They should have flown him back
I think they
on the
did.
jet. Yeah.
Well, not on the jet because
Okay.
part of that was dumb luck. The jet just happened to be up there. It's not like they sent the jet up there. It was like, oh, the jet's out at this field anyway, so why don't you get on it because it needs to come down here and you might as well ride along. It's kind of like Samuel Alito's flights, you know. Oh, well, that seat was going to be empty,
Oh, so it's not a bribe.
right?
Okay.
Not a bribe. If I'd paid my own way, nobody would have sat in that seat.
It's, so it's meaningless, of course.
Well, I mean, in in a world where we managed to elect Donald Trump twice, yeah, yeah, it is pretty meaningless.
Yeah, everything
It
is
shouldn't
meaningless
be.
now.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't be. Like, biggest reason I want the House and Senate back is whether we can manage to actually impeach and convict them. We need very public, very loud impeachment hearings for at least four Supreme Court justices. I don't know if there's anything that you could actually impeach Gorsuch for, but
Well, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's there may not be the usual elections that we expect.
I
Um,
I'm not feeling
things
good about that. No,
no, no.
no. Um, yeah, no. It's an interesting world that we live
Yeah.
in. Can we have a boring
Maybe I'll just go back to writing about drawing Australopithecines and giant aliens.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd love
I
it.
I hear the world was pretty boring in the 50s and 60s. Can we have that back, please? Um,
Interesting
but
times.
not the racist parts or the misogynist parts.
Oh, you're trying to make America
Just the
great
boring
again.
parts. All right. I gotta ask my favorite closing question now. Tell
Great.
me something you'd love. Preferably a comic, but we don't have rules. Preferably storytelling, but again with the rules. But something that you love that not enough other people have experienced and you want them to so that you have more people to talk about it with.
Hmm. Wow. Something that I'm gonna think of something that was the perfect thing to say after we stop this.
This is actually why it's always my closing question, no matter how many times you've been on, because I'll get different answers every time.
Um,
People often wind up looking at bookshelves behind them.
yeah, that's what what do what is not something that everyone knows about? And I would love it to be
Well,
about
and this is where I do say that that's why I phrase it the way that I phrase it to give you lots of stuff, like lots of openings, because I didn't say that not everybody knows about. I said not enough people
not
around
enough
you.
people.
You want people to talk to it about. Like Nate Powell, the last time he was on, said
Yeah.
Jonathan Hickman X-Men comics because he doesn't live in a world that's full of Wednesday Warriors anymore. And he discovered the Hickman X-Men and became a Wednesday Warrior again, reading the whole Krakoa saga.
Really? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's good. It's good to discover that.
I mean, he literally listed one of the best-selling comics of the time when he
Right. But
was
his
on,
specific, yes, of course.
but he didn't have anybody to talk about. Whereas Andrew Iden, the last time he was on, went with his tomato garden.
Oh, wow. Not enough people, but everyone's talking about that though. That doesn't count.
I mean, we are now. I need to go down just to taste tomatoes. I made him promise to put me up if I made it to North Carolina because I can't talk to him about his tomatoes unless I taste his tomatoes.
I think I'm going to say my colleagues. I think especially in this world, um, I'm so when I talked about those the people that were the other alternative newspaper cartoonists who I would hang out with at these conventions. I think these people did an unbelievable job, really
All right, we got to name some names.
inventing a new genre of cartooning.
All right.
Um, and so and really they've been forgotten. There was a great, I will name names, but let me just say
Yeah.
there was a great exhibit at the Society of Illustrators in New York
That I
about,
still need to get to. I've
oh,
heard
it's
such
so
great things
cool.
about it.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
it's the greatest thing. It's like a
Yeah.
clubhouse
Yeah.
for illustrators and cartoonists
Right.
with a bar. So it is, I love that place. But they had a whole exhibit on a show about, these group of cartoonists who invented a new genre of cartooning, newspaper cartooning, that was, really bold and iconoclastic and all different kinds. And so, these names like, the people in these newspapers were like my buddies, Tom Tomorrow, Jen Sorensen, you mentioned, but Durf and Keith Knight, Stephen Notley, um, some of the more Chris Ware came from this world. So this
Stephen Witch. That's the one name I didn't recognize.
uh,
Stephen.
Stephen. Oh, did I say Stephen?
Yeah, you see Stephen something.
Chris Ware.
Chris Ware, Keith
Oh,
Knight,
Stephen Notley.
Stephen Notley.
Does a comic strip called Bob the Angry Flower. I'm going to forget people. Ward Sutton. I'm going to forget really good name, really good
Of
friends.
course. Yeah.
But and then Mark Newgarten. It all, of course, it all came from Matt Groening and Linda Barry, and before them, Jules Pfeiffer. But I think it's a forgotten art form, and these people are fantastically creative. Look at what Durf has gone on to do.
Oh, I love
He did
Durf.
a comic strip called The City in lots of
Yep.
alternative papers, and now he's an unbelievable graphic artist, graphic novelist. Uh,
Well, I can't wait to see his new book. He was telling me about it some at CXC.
hmm,
Um, and I think it just got announced. Um,
is it? Oh man,
it's about
I've
I
seen
want to say
pages
it's
from it.
about cartoonists being
It's historical. I know
yeah, yeah.
because I've
It
seen pages from it.
but I want to say it's about one of the times where like cartoonists were under fire. So it might be like everybody knows about the Wortham hearings in the 50s, but there'd been all sorts of stuff in like the teens and 20s about newspaper cartoons and rotting people's brains. So I was
Wow.
wondering it might have been about that. I don't remember. But yeah, no, I know it has to do with cartoonists.
Yeah. Well, just look at the yeah, that's just an example of the creativity that was there
Yeah.
with these people. He blew me away when he went, turned the corner into graphic novels.
I
Uh,
actually my and I'm in the minority on this, but I think it's just because not enough people have read it. My favorite book of his is actually Trashed
yeah, that's a great one. Because he
because
was a garbage man.
right.
And
Well, and that's one of the reasons it's its nonfiction element and its teaching element is so good, but it's also merged with
His
very
experiences.
human,
Yes.
realistic fiction stories. Because he made it clear to me at least that like this isn't most of this didn't happen, but I used kind of
Yeah.
my experience, like because generally we get one or the other. We get to discover how something feels, or we get to discover like the facts and figures. So to have this artifact that had both woven together like that,
Yeah, because in the book he explains a lot about the way cities actually deal with trash, and so it's sort of like
and countries, and
an explainers.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, right,
So there's that part, and then there's also sort of the narrative element of being a garbage man.
yeah. No, Durf is super super cool.
Yeah.
Um, as is Keith Knight. I mean, you got a good group of friends,
Oh,
and
yeah, I love
Keith
those
hasn't
guys.
been on yet, but he and I text from time to time, mostly about baseball.
His kid's
He's
a
a big
baseball
Red Sox
player.
fan, and his
Yes,
his
and it,
son's his son's in travel ball, and that's
yeah,
half the reason he hasn't been on is every time we manage to schedule something, his son will wind up
yeah,
advancing further in the tournament than they expected or whatever.
being a travel sports dad is
Right.
tough, but he's also a remarkable guy, so
Yeah.
talented and so smart.
And
Um,
he also had a comic today
oh, he was also in these times,
in these times.
and a
Yeah,
really good one. Yeah,
it's Matt Pors, and then the K Chronicles, and then you, and then Maddie Lipchonsky, and then Jen,
yeah.
and then
Again, I'm proud to be in their company.
Matt again. Matt got to be first and last today.
It's his prerogative.
It is.
Um, yeah. So
Um,
that's what I that's
no,
there's my answer.
that's a good one. That I like that, and you both got to make it personal and give me and my readers quite the reading list. For that matter, I am going to have you. I'll send you what I managed to type while you were talking, and you'll have to add names to it
Oh, great.
because
All
I
right.
didn't type fast enough. My finger. I'm not like I hear people complain about like the kids not having to take typing classes anymore, and I'm like, have you seen how many words a minute they can do on their
I know with
iPad?
their thumbs. Yeah.
Right. Who cares if they take typing classes? They can put 1,000 words a minute on the
Yeah,
page.
absolutely. I still do my touch typing with my that I learned
Right.
in ninth grade for for secretarial work.
Well, Ruben, it has been a blast.
Tad, it's really been fun.
Yeah, we'll
I
have
feel
to
like I
do
made a
this
friend.
again. I hope so. I hope so. I love it when I have literally made more friends in the last 4 years than I did in my entire teens, and probably almost as many as I made in like my first 40 years.
That's great.
I love
Podcasting's a
it.
good gig.
I found my tribe
There you go.
because we get to see face to face. We develop a little bit more of a bond than if we were just emailing or talking on the phone. And then we'll meet in person at a con, or I'll be traveling and say, "Hey, let's get a cup of coffee." You said you're in New York. I got lots of New York peeps now.
Good. Come on over.
Yeah,
Yeah, do mocha.
yeah. Well, and I like one of my best friends lives in New Jersey, so I even have a place to stay where I can get into the city easily, and that makes it easier on a teacher salary,
Yeah, on a
because that's
budget,
always
yeah,
the
it's
problem
hard
with the
to,
whole
yeah,
like
yeah,
traveling.
yeah. You have to find a place to sleep.
Right, place to sleep that's cheap.
Yes.
So for Ruben Bolling, the comic is Tom the Dancing Bug. It's on Kickstarter through November 20th.
November
Go pick
20th.
up your copies now, or just go to Clover Press and buy the newer books, or hit your local comic shop.
I could say
Hopefully they have them. If they don't, they can order them.
you can find all information. Well, Clover Press. The easiest way is just to remember tomthedancingbug.com.
Yep.
So you can go right there.
And you have a Substack at Tom the Dancing Bug, and
Yeah, well, I have a newsletter. I have a weekly newsletter I've done since before Substack. So it's on
okay.
various platforms. It's on Substack. It's on Patreon. It's on MailChimp. It's on whatever I
So
can,
so so
however I can
so
send it
you're
out.
you're everywhere that people can possibly find to give you money. You'll be there.
Wherever
That's
fine
the that
newsletters are sold.
yeah, join the inner hive. I see it here.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the free newsletter. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's a free
lots and
one too,
lots
a
of
free
options.
option.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my wife and I were just talking about it. Like we're both on teacher salaries, and we don't like to think about how much we spend on
I
Substacks
know.
and or campaign contributions. But at the same time, we can't imagine spending less because we are actually relatively careful about like I want this news, so I want to make certain that this news exists. I
Yeah,
love this cartoonist, and I know altogether too well
it's hard. But yeah, but
that that they
there's a
need the money.
there's a fatigue with it because now everyone's got one. But
Right.
this is the way this economy works now. It used to be you
It
could get my
is.
comic for free if you lived in a newspaper where it was run, and there were many. Uh,
Well, and the biggest reason, and I know that you don't get quite as much money for it this way. The biggest reason that I haven't paid for one of your newsletters yet is I do have a Go Comics subscription, so I get,
that's, however, people, as long as you're reading,
I
like I said,
yeah.
I'm so thankful for readers.
And I did.
People,
I was looking. I always forget how to find my my backer number because it tells you somewhere like where in line you were in the backing, and I think I was in single digits for your Kickstarter.
oh, did you join the Kickstarter? Did you
Oh
back
yeah,
it?
I've been on the
Oh,
Kickstarter since like
I didn't know
I
that. Well,
think
thank you so much.
I joined the Kickstarter before I got the message from Dustin that the Kickstarter existed.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Because I
Thanks.
know
I
that
hope you enjoy these books.
I had an alert for when it went live. That's how long ago as soon as Clover Press had put up the thing saying we're doing this, I went, remind me.
Man, I really appreciate it, and I really hope you enjoy these books.
I
I'm
know
so
I'll enjoy.
proud of the stuff in there.
I know I'll enjoy. I mean, I don't know how much you're involved in uh, Clover's probably handling your distribution. So
Yeah.
you won't actually be putting it in the thing. Otherwise I'd say, I didn't pay for a signature, but if there happens to be one, but I'll just try to remember to bring it to New York with me
Yeah,
sometime.
bring it over. I'll draw some pictures in it.
That'd be even better.
Yeah.
It has been a pleasure. I'm certain we'll talk again. And again, for Ruben Bolling, this has been 22 panels, and we will see you after the next page.